So the vest makes a huge difference to me, honestly. There are lots of different kinds of vests and ways to carry your gear. So this is a typical tactical vest, like pretty standard, with 3 belts in front and mole. But there are vests that are just straps, and then you have gear on your chest. And they provide a lot more range of movement for your upper body, and they're a lot cooler. However, you're limited to keeping stuff just in front of you, which is okay. However, depending on how big it is and where it sits, I find that you get less versatility in your gear that way. But you do get better breathing, so that's another plus. Some people wear just a belt, kind of like a cummerbund, where it's like a cummerbund of mole that they can put stuff on, and that's just a belt only setup. And so some people prefer that as well, get extra mobility there. However, I found that I like the versatility of being able to kind of switch my gear, and I found that there's a handful of pros with a full vest. Obviously, you can carry more gear up top, but that also provides you kind of more mounting points for my gear, which I'll show you in a minute. There's a lot of vests out there. This is an NC Star Paul's vest, and you can see it's got nylon mesh all the way up to the shoulder, so it breathes pretty well. So it comes with padding in the back, which means you're going to be super sweaty. But you don't really need padding. You don't need you don't need a plate or padding. You know, it'd be cool if I were to come in and actually cut out that padding, which you could do. It does help if you have a lot of heavy gear, but we don't in Nerf. And so if you look on the back, some vests have in the front where you have this pouch here where you can actually slide in a ceramic bulletproof plate. And that's how bulletproof vests work, is you just have a vest that holds the plate in place. And so with this vest, you have that plate normally, which is really uncomfortable. So you have the padding in the back, so you do get sweaty, but because it doesn't have a plate carrier in the front, you've got a lot of breathability. Now this is also a very light vest, and it was like one of the cheapest vests I could find on Amazon at the time. I've had this one for 4 years, so it's seen some wear, but for like a $30 vest, it's pretty worth it. Now you could get a higher tier, higher quality vest that might last longer, but I find those typically have too much feature creep, meaning they have a lot of functionality and features built in that you're never going to use, and so you're overpaying. So might as well get a vest and buy a new vest every 4 years, then get one vest that's going to be kind of subpar for longer. So for example, I have here a newer model of the NC Star vest. You can see it's actually built very similarly with the 3 buckles in front. It has a room for a belt on the bottom, and the back is actually built very, very similar as well. Most vests are to carry strap. This one again has room for a plate carrier in the back. If you look in the front, it has mesh, but one, it's got no pockets. I'll talk about that in a minute. And 2, the mesh is only on one side, so it's kind of wicking, but the front is just solid fabric, meaning you've got like no breathability at all. This one is nice because it holds your mole all the way from left to right. Look at this vest, you have this gap in the middle, so that way you can't really put something right in the middle of you. So you do lose a little bit of area of storage, but I think that this vest is a lot stiffer. So it's like a heavier duty vest, and it does have a plate carrier. So I guess you could use it as a bulletproof vest if you wanted to. However, this vest it's a pretty common vest. I mean, I just went on Amazon and you can Google search for like, airsoft vest or whatever. And this is mostly what you see for a full vest setup. And it's more rigid. It feels restricting. Maybe it's like shoes, you have to break it in. But compared to this other NC Star vest I had, this one didn't need any breaking in. It's a lot looser fabric. You can just tell that like it's heavier. So heavier duty might last longer. I don't know. I haven't really ever used it. It was a gift. But here we have it. The mole straps are sewed into the webbing, which probably makes the sewing a little bit weaker. So that's a downside on that. But I think the breathability alone and a lighter weight and the more range of motion is less restricting. So this is definitely the vest I would recommend. Just find what works for you. Like I said, I've been through 6 or 7 different vests I've tried out. I've tried the Rescue vest setup. I've tried a belt only setup, and I've tried numerous different vests, and I find that I like the vest the best. Anyway, I like the vest the best, but it has to be the right vest. Otherwise, I prefer just a belt only or similar. So that's it about vests. Now let's talk about what then goes on to the vest. Why wear a vest if we're not going to use it? So what I like about this vest is it's got these pockets and a zipper pocket. So it's got like 3 or 4 pockets on the inside. It's all mesh, so it still breathes. You don't have extra layers from that. But if I'm running a game, or if I just like have something in my hand or something like that, I can put that stuff in these pockets, like my phone. I can put my phone in there and I don't even feel it. and that I know exactly where it is. Instead of having it in my pocket on my pants, I feel like having stuff in my pants pocket limits my movement more because that's where your hips are, that's where your legs gotta move, and that's typically what you're gonna be moving in a Nerf event, is your legs, unless your play style is different, in which case maybe you're just moving your arms and you can afford that. I know some people that run a little slower, but they don't run as much, and so they sometimes have stuff on their legs, which we'll talk about. So again, this vest, lightweight, it breathes well, lots of pockets, has a place for a belt. I also find out that I like a vest with these hooks here, and I'll tell you why in a minute as well, but just like, it has features, but not features you're not gonna use, I feel like. So let's get into it. So this vest is adjustable, like most vests should, good vests are adjustable on the sides. Now this is the smallest, possibly skinniest setting I could find. And then with your extra straps, you don't want them lying out and around. So this vest actually came with these strap retention. So you have, 2 feet of extra strap that's not dangling in the way. That's pretty common in the military as well. You don't want that being something that can be snagged or grabbed onto. So tighten it all the way up and then secure the extra strap with those Velcros. Same thing with the rest of the vest. I've got these shoulders tightened all the way, like the smallest possible setting. I'm a skinny guy. This vest I have found comes in 3 different sizes: small, medium, large, extra large, and 2XL. So I mean, they're out there if you just look. So you've got your belt, and then you've got your buckles here. They have some vests, especially military kind of tactical vests, where they come off. You just pull down on a strap that's unlocked. You pull it down, the whole vest comes off, which is useful, but also not really the Nerf for. So this is the functionality I need. As you can see, I've got a fair vest. I do have a couple of mag holders here. And so what I like to do is set up my gear where I like my hands to go and have stuff be there when I want it. And so what I'll usually do is take my dump pouch and put it on my lower left butt cheek here. So that way it's right there behind me when I need it. So my offhand is there ready to grab it. I say offhand because if I'm doing something with my right hand, I can easily just pick up stuff and put it in my left butt cheek area. So what I like to do is, for example, a dart sweep, I'll pick up stuff off the ground, put it in my left hand, and kind of just exchange it like that. That sounds kind of like something that doesn't really matter, but it makes a big difference in your efficiency in a game. And I don't know if you guys are into that, but I like to be very efficient. So what I'll do is, before an event, I'll get my gear and lay it out and get it set up. So on my left butt cheek here, now you've got these straps that hold your belt in place. You've got the Velcro and then a clip. And then I'll put so you've got, this belt has straps that hold your belt in 3 spots on either side. You've got left butt, right butt, then you got side, and front. And so I like to use those as dividers to even out my gear so it's even, like, symmetrical on both sides. So I like to put my dump pouch, this probably doesn't matter to you, but I like to put my dump pouch, if I remember right, I like to put my dump pouch on the outside of this side of the left retention strap for the belt, and then the other one, it doesn't really matter where it goes. However, I find that having one side is always going to want to rest against one of those straps. If you try to put your dump pouch, for example, in the middle of your belt, it's going to want to shift behind or in front, and it's really annoying because it's not there when you need it. And so I like to use that retention strap for the belt as a retention strap for my dump pouch as well. And everything else on my gear, other than holsters, which we'll talk about in a minute, is modular and swappable because of these brackets. By Blade Tech, and also there's knockoffs you can get. These make it so I can put stuff on my belt without taking the belt off. Similar to if you had a mole belt, say you had a belt that had, maybe 2 straps of mole on it, then you could put stuff through those mole and do the same thing I'm doing here. But this belt is not a mole belt. Also, I found the mole belts are typically bigger and thicker and they don't breathe as well. And putting stuff in and out of these can be difficult depending on what mole setups you have. There are mole clips that you can use to make your gear really easy to pop in and off of the mole, so that's an option. But then at the same time, if I had gear that wasn't mole compatible and just for normal belt, you can go both ways, because a lot of those mole belts are too thick for normal belt gear. So I've got my gear that I want to put on the belt, I'll put on later. That's something I've recently started doing since I got these belt clips, because they make it so easy to switch out your loadout. Normally, you lay out your gear before the event, undo all the buttons, unvelcro everything, take off your buckles, slide everything on, put all the buckles and straps and belts back together, put it on, see how it feels, then take it off, adjust it, do it again, do it like 3 or 4 times, and finding the right setup can take a lot of iterations. And so I really like the versatility of being able to move it and switch it out until you find the perfect gear setup for you. But even then it just makes it really harder to transition to something that may be different, but it could also be better. But because your gear is such an annoying hassle to switch out, it could be something you just never end up doing, and then you're not gonna know what benefits you're missing out on. All right, so back to the vest. Here's how I like to set it up. So if my blaster is gonna be in front most of the time, I like to put the sling over my right shoulder. Now that is a little bit cumbersome because you do have a sling over your vest, but I personally find it to be totally okay. Blaster there, sits in front, ready to go, I'm ready, or if I don't want it, I can just slide it behind, more or less. Now again, this setup is mostly for during play, and slinging it behind me is what I personally don't do very often, so I'm okay with this setup.